It's without further ado, we start with the Mark Kilam Show with his theme music chosen by our resident metalhead?
I guess so. I'd be the biggest
metalhead, Zachary Kubish. Play this man his music.
Yeah.
All right, welcome to the Mark Kilam Show with the Edmonton Elks head coach, Mark Kilam. Zach, first off, Mark, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good. How are you doing? How's the vacation?
It was delightful. It was great. We got some great quality time in with the fam, with another former Bear, a brother of ours, Simon Pacey, was there. So it was great to catch up with them and spend some time in the sun. Now, Zachary Kubish, he's usually our producer for this show. Reed is off this week, so he's sitting in, filling in for Reed. Bit of a metalhead, so he's curated. He loved that list that you sent.
I listened to every single song today, by the way. I listened to all of it, so I added like 3 or 4 songs to the playlist, and now I grew up like listening to metal. I had the long hair in junior high and through high school. My friends were headbangers, and that made, like, I've been to tons of metal concerts at this point. Well, a handful. The question that I have for you is, which one has been your favorite going to a metal concert? If you've been to a metal concert, which one stands out the most to you?
Oh, Slipknot at Rogers was pretty good. We drove up from, I was still living in the other city at that time, but it was a good time. Who else did I just see? I haven't seen anybody since I've been up here, but I need to.
Now, I know you were listening. We were talking about the Labor Day bus, and that is just, I mean, is that kind of, you know, with the Elks and with the other team down Highway 2, was that just like the series that was the one you really anticipated, the one that got the vibes, the juices flowing the most, Mark?
Yeah, I mean, I haven't even really, I heard you talking about the bus at the start of this. My mind is not there yet on Labor Day, but I think it's awesome. I love the idea of the bus last year. I loved, you know, getting a little war party going down there and making some noise in the stands. I think that's a great thing, and I think we should even get even more people this year to do it.
Yeah, I was there myself last year. It was hotter than a pistol, and the good people down at the other team put us in the sunniest spot of the stadium, of course. So I wouldn't expect any difference. But anyways, let's move on. Thanks for joining us here today. Thanks for taking time out of your day. This is the Mark Kilam Show, episode 12, presented by the Edmonton Elks. Look, you guys moved to 7-3, an impressive 42-12 victory. But it was, you know, it was 11-9 at the half. I want to know, like, what was said at the halftime speech. I mean, that was a different team from the first half to the second half to go out there and finish that game off.
I think it was just you know, a collective mindset to just try to run these guys out of the stadium. I think it stems from the leadership on the football team. I think you know, guys just bonded together, came out with one thing on their minds, and it started on that opening kickoff with a forced fumble and then getting some points out of it.
Yeah, certainly a great way to start a second half and set the tone off the first kickoff, which your special team crew got done. This team that you know, we currently get to watch, you get to watch a lot closer on a day-to-day basis. I feel like when it's functioning and when it's functioning, not at perfection, because nobody's ever perfect, but at you know, as a well-oiled machine, is this the team you envisioned on day one of training camp when it's functioning at that high level with a defense that is just they'll take the ball away at any point. They'll limit you, and then an offense that can answer the bell and move the ball down the field. And a special teams unit that, I mean, Vinny Blanchard, we haven't talked about that much, but as a kicker, that's not a bad thing.
Yeah. No, I think identity-wise, Jay, it is. But when you first get together, you know, we felt like we were going to make some noise this whole offseason, going back to, you know, just establishing ourselves, and then the changes that we made, and then, you know, coaches feeling way more streamlined, and everything that we're doing, everything just, it didn't feel easy because it never is, but it didn't feel as hard as the year before where everything was new and we were just trying to establish everything. So we felt like we were going to make some noise. Then you get into training camp and you're like, geez, we look pretty good, but you don't really know until you start playing games. And then, you know, we started playing games, and we really kind of bought into who we want to be around here, and that's what the result is that you're seeing.
Mark Kilam, head coach of the Edmonton Elks, here for the Mark Kilam Show. That is here on the Reed Wilkins Show Tuesdays at 5:00. You do mention some players kind of making an impact and wanting to be seen. Josh Cephas now, back-to-back games with a touchdown, 2 touchdowns on the season. These receivers are making a name for themselves in the league among TJ Luther. Can you speak more on that receiving core and like Cephas and Luther getting into the mix?
Yeah, I mean, both of those guys have just grown with every opportunity they've gotten. They've responded to coaching. They've corrected mistakes that they've had. They've gotten more and more on their plate every week as far as what's in the game plan. And they've just handled that really well. And I think that's, you have to take advantage of your opportunities especially as an offensive player, because otherwise, the ball will start going other places. If the quarterback doesn't trust you to be where you are, where you're supposed to be, when you're supposed to be there, his eyes are going somewhere else. And then that becomes a pattern if that happens consistently. But these guys have been the opposite of that. They've earned trust. Both with Cody, both with the coaching staff, they've earned more opportunities, and I can't be more happy for them because two kind of unknown guys at the start of the year really starting to shine, and I think it's only going to make us more dangerous down the road.
Somebody who got their opportunity defensively was Tyrez Reed, rookie making his CFL debut. What were your takeaways from his first game there against the Argos this past weekend? Yeah,
it's Tyrez. Yeah, we love Tyrez. Tyrez is a guy, we were really high on him in camp. Like he was a late ad, so he wasn't with us in our off-season stuff. So he kind of had to just jump into the fire in training camp. Late ad, flashed right away, made plays in both preseason games. And then there's only so many active roster spots, but obviously he earned a spot on the practice roster. And, at the start of the year, we say, everybody that's on the practice roster is part of the football team because the rosters in general are limited. So it takes everybody in there, and everybody that's on the PR plays at some point in the year. And this is a guy that, just kept showing up in practice and was making plays and was pissing the offense off and intercepting footballs and just flashing all the time. And that's what you have to do as a practice roster player. Very similar to what JJ Ross did a year ago before he got his opportunity. And we gave him a shout out post game on our rundown day just for being ready for his moment. And I mean, not everyone can do that. And I think that people are all going to know Tyrez Reed's name around here really quickly.
Well, another great example of this is a player that we had on this show just yesterday in JJ Ross. I mean, that was a guy who came in here in 2024, and it was an awesome interview, because he was really being quite honest about that. Yeah, when I was on the practice roster, that sucked. I wanted to be out there on the field, and it really, tested him and made him recount experiences in his life that led to how he got to where he is and where he was in the CFL. And he had to count on those experiences to get him through those hard times. Very candid about, some of his struggles out of high school and getting into university, colleges. How much of that, Mark, that side of players, and obviously I don't need it, we're not looking for personal stories here, but how much of that side do you get into as the head coach of a team with so many players on the roster? Like, it seems like a tall task, but knowing what we heard from JJ Ross yesterday gives you a lot more sense of where he came from, and it also helps you understand where he's going. So how much of that do you get into as the head coach?
Yeah, well, first and foremost, that speaks to the character of somebody like JJ Ross. And I think that this whole room is filled with high character men, and that stems from the mandate from Ed and his personnel guys, that's who they find. Obviously we want talented players, but it's a staple of the guys that we bring in here. But I don't want to give away all my secrets here, but we get the players. We one of the main pillars of who we want to be is being a connected football team, and every single day too, I get one or more players to speak to the football team about stuff like that. Even on short weeks, we're going to do it tomorrow. And we've done that all of last year as well. And I think it's important not only for, I love obviously hearing about the stories, but I mean, you see a different side to players, and you see, some vulnerability, and everybody has a different journey to get here. And I think when you hear stories like that, it brings your football team closer. And it's one of my favorite things of the week.
Yeah, it was an incredible story. And like I said, it was nice to have, that sense of vulnerability, knowing where he is now and how he's used that to propel him. It was a great story. So I can certainly understand why you like to hear that and keep that a part of the team. Look, let's move on to this week, Friday. You're saying, thanks, guys. Finally, we move on to this week. Winnipeg, they can create some problems defensively. What concerns you most about this stout Winnipeg defense?
They've gotten better every single week. I mean, Winnipeg, first of all, they're a program that's built on a solid identity that hasn't changed for a lot of years. So they've done a lot of winning over the years. They're extremely veteran football team on both sides of the football. So they carry that kind of presence with them wherever they go. And this defense, they do what they do, and they do it well. But early in the year, it takes time to understand the nuance of that scheme that they play. And it's very, like I said, it's what they do, and they do it well, and they've gotten better over the games. We played them week 3 out of it's week 10 or 11 or whatever week it is right now, and they've gotten better. So I think anytime you're facing a front that has guys like Willie J, Jake Serezna, you got some young guys making an impact. Tony Jones is flying around making a gazillion tackles, and they've got a veteran secondary. With guys like John Moxie and some guys back there that execute what they're doing. So I mean, it's going to be difficult. We're going to have to do a really good job of executing our offensive plan to find and create the space that we need.
Now, it was 11-9 at halftime against the Argos. How important is it against the Bombers this Friday to get an early start and a quick start offensively?
I think it's always important. I think for a lot of reasons. I think, playing with the lead, you can get your run game going a little bit more. When you're playing against a team like Winnipeg that wants to run the ball a lot, not that they don't get away from it when they get down, because it is a big part of who they are, and their whole offense goes through Brady. But it does help if you can build up a lead. But every CFL game is literally its own universe. I mean, every game is different. Different things happen. We're focused on a short week right now, just trying to prepare ourselves to play winning football. And, we've had some success on short weeks with the formula that we're using, but it all stems on preparing the right way. And that's what the focus is right now.
Just a couple quick ones for you here, Mark. Thank you again for joining us here and being so generous with your time. You just mentioned it, multiple short weeks in this 10-game stretch. And then after this Friday's game, a well-deserved bye. Is it? Can it be a distraction, or can it actually be something of a motivation for your players?
Yeah, I think we're trying to meet the challenge without the distraction. I think last week, I gave the team a lot of credit because we came back and responded after a tough loss, and that's on the players in the room just making their minds up to do that. This week we're trying to keep the pedal down. We're rolling right into this thing. I tried to start the meeting with a ton of urgency this morning. We kind of did, this little walkthrough-ish type day, but it's a very heavy mental day. Tomorrow's our only practice, but, the guys, we're talking about it like it's a full sprint. You know what I mean? Pedals down. We're sprinting to this game. We're going to go out. We want to play well at home, which is something that's important to us. And then, hopefully we go 1-0 this week, and then it's, we can put the sunglasses on and disappear for a little while.
Right on. Big Dave on our River Cree Resort and Casino inbox has texted in. He says, can you guys ask Coach Kilam if he happens to get out to any metal shows, and if so, does he have a favorite venue?
I don't. You know what I would pay good money? I would pay good money to go see Parkway Drive. So if anyone knows when they're touring, I haven't had a chance to look that up, but I would love to see Parkway Drive live. They're kind of on my bucket list right now.
Parkway Drive.
Yeah, I think you had that in the list that you had sent us to play. So Parkway Drive would be the big one for you. I actually have a few bands and songs that I think you might like. I don't know if you've heard this. So the first intro last week was what was it, from Amon Amarth?
Yeah,
I don't remember the exact song title. Something Twilight of the Thunder Gods, I believe it was.
That's right.
Absolutely phenomenal song. One in the same Viking metal category I'd throw out there is from Tyr, Tyr, the band name is. Okay. It's called Hail to the Hammer. A couple other ones too.
He's writing this down. Yeah.
Okay, I'll give you a moment to do that. So that's Tyr, Hail to the Hammer. Another one from one of my favorite death metal bands is from the band Death. Death. I know there's Megadeth. There's so many death. It's called Symbolic. And then pretty good one, Napalm in the Morning by a band called Sodom. Oh, so I put that on the list. They're pretty heavy. Some of them are thrashy and death, but I'm interested to hear what you have to say about those three songs.
Is there much love for metal on during practice?
Well, last year we used to have Metal Mondays. That was my suggestion, but that kind of we've kind of gone more. We mix up our playlist now, but every once in a while the song will slip in there. But what? I do want to shout out. I don't know who did it last year. A fan. The Metallica Kill 'Em All album cover. Somebody made a shirt and gave it to David Beard to give to me, and it was my last name spelled correctly. Kill 'Em All.
One L.
I wear it all the time. Yeah. I just want to shout that fan out because I still have the shirt and I wear it at home all the time. I'm gonna wear it on the show. I'm wearing it on the show next week.
Wear it on the show because I got a little secret for you here. This is behind the scenes of EST. We have a fantasy football league here in EST, the CFL, and one of the team names, I won't say whose it is, but he's well known in the CFL ranks. I'll tell you that for free. His team name is Kill 'Em All.
No way. I like it.
Now, just before I let you go, it is just past the halfway mark of the season. So it's past the halfway mark of me asking you, how are the hamstrings holding up at this point of the season?
You know what? I kicked a soccer ball today. I don't even know why there was a soccer ball on the field. And the defense does this little takeaway thing as we step on the field, and somebody passed me the soccer ball and I just ripped a punt. And I was like, wow, I just felt that all the way into my toes. And I said, you know what? That was probably a bad idea. But hamstrings are holding up right now as we speak, so I'm going for it.
Good luck this Friday. I'm judging by the looks of it, it's going to be a packed house again at Commonwealth, which is well-deserved for this team, 7-3. Go support your Elks. Mark, it's always a pleasure having you on. Thank you again.
Appreciate it, guys. Thank you.
All right, that was Mark Kilam, your head coach of the Edmonton Elks, joining us here for the Mark Kilam Show, courtesy of the Edmonton Elks. I love that. I love that segment. It just gives you a glimpse into the ebbs and flows in the day in the life of a head coach in the CFL, and his personality sure comes through. And a shout out to the Kill 'Em All t-shirt maker, who will have to find out. And
great album.